Welcome to Behind the Law with Justin Clarke, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back to another edition of Behind the Law with Justin Clarke. We continue our ongoing discussion of HAMP and HARP and ways to save your home, but also this half hour, we're going to touch on the ongoing case, the Zimmerman trial, going on in Seminole County. How can you get access to the courthouse, maybe even the courtroom itself? And you have other business before the courts or before Seminole County. How will this affect you? We know it's taking place in Seminole County, and logistically, it could be a real nightmare, but you're going to help us through that.
I think it's going to be a nightmare. Good thing, I guess, for us is it's not right in downtown Orlando as the Casey Anthony trial was. But it is in Seminole County on 1792, the big, relatively new courthouse. Most of you have probably driven by and seen it. Good thing is it's not near the civil courthouse, so it's just where the criminal cases are heard. It's a relatively large building. But, I know a lot of people are going to want to come and see this trial, and I want to let you know how you can get in if you want to. And they have several, not as many seats as you would think. They're not hundreds of seats. This isn't some auditorium or anything. They're making 24 seats available to the general public. 24, that's it. It's not a lot. And I know there are going to be a lot of people who want to go, and it's not going to be nearly enough. So how do you get in? You have to go to the Seminole County Supervisor of Elections Monday through Friday, between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Now, when do you go? You go the day before. So if you're trying to go on a Wednesday, you need to go to the supervisor elections on Tuesday between 2 and 4, and they enter you into a lottery, okay? And then they're going to draw the winners, and if you're one of the lucky 24, you show up the next morning and get your pass to get into the courthouse, and that's how you do it. I think there are going to be long lines, a lot of interest in this case. And again, it's just not a very large courtroom. They have 31 seats allocated to the local and national media. It's good to know News 96.5 is in the second row, right next to Fox News. So News 96.5 is getting a great seat in the courthouse, and you can follow everything right here on News 96.5. 6 seats are going to the Zimmerman family, right in the front row. 6 seats to the Martin family in the front row. And again, the 24 allocated to the general public, and 4 seats to local ministers who are going to try to keep the peace. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm a little concerned about, Rob.
Well, yesterday, Saturday, there was a rally in Miami, and all parties on the Trayvon Martin side were saying, let's keep the peace, let's do this peacefully.
Right.
It's going to be very interesting. I've noticed, too, that law enforcement in all surrounding counties has already been told about this. They do have strategic plans for parking, traffic, and all that sort of thing in Sanford. So it will be very interesting. But when we talk about the case, and not talking about the guilt or innocence of either party, but something I find interesting is when Central Florida was exposed to Casey Anthony, I think we got a taste of what a real court case goes like. And It's not like Law and Order where everything's patched up in 48 minutes minus commercials. No. It's basically these things drone on and on. A piece of evidence can take 4 days to introduce.
Oh, absolutely. The court system's set up where you can't just go in and say this, that. You have to prove it via evidence by asking people questions, and these things take a long time. I think we're expecting the Martin case, or really the Zimmerman case, I should say, to last 4 to 6 weeks, okay? And it's going to be a long 4 to 6 weeks, and it's going to be wall-to-wall coverage all over your television screens to where it might even get annoying after a while. My biggest concern is I want everyone to keep the peace, whether it's an acquittal or a conviction for this man. The court system's here for a reason, and I realize that it's a fiery issue, but we really all need to keep our peace, and let's show off what a great community that we are to the national people who are going to be here.
As an attorney who's been in this, and you've gone before the courts, what was your feeling about keeping this case local and not changing it to Polk County or somewhere out of this area?
I don't know. I really believe that it probably should have. We probably should get a jury pull out of somewhere else, because let me tell you, the Sanford community is a prideful, rich in history community. And there's been no story like this in the history of Sanford that's ever come in here where you have national media helicopters flying over your city. And I think the jury pool is going to be local residents, and it makes me a little bit nervous. But I guess I'm going to trust the court system on this one, and let's see what happens.
I guess another thing that we learn on this is that not only does it take a long time, but we've learned something from the Casey Anthony case. about 40 to 48%, depending on who you talk to, about 40 to 48% of the information that we heard on the national talk shows at night, that you heard on the cable shows, was never even brought up during the trial because most of it was conjecture on the part of the talking heads. So a lot of what we've heard since the shooting, we're going to find out, has no bearing on this case.
Absolutely. I mean, the stuff that gets into evidence, and it seems like most of the victories have been for the state here lately in the pretrial hearings. Everything's gone against George Zimmerman, but everything that comes in, and it can't be prejudicial, so to speak. Okay, so there's a whole process for what evidence can come in. Now you go on Fox News or CNN, you can say whatever you want. You know, I mean, within reason, but in the court system, only certain evidence can come in. And mark my words here, and I said it right here on the show today, I wouldn't be surprised if this case gets continued. I have a funny feeling something's going to happen to continue this trial. I know that we've already set up this media village there for over 200 out-of-town journalists, but I just have a weird feeling that something might stop this trial from going on.
All right, and don't forget, of course, all the details. You'll hear it throughout the trial right here on News 96.5 and, of course, on WRDQ and the sister station Channel 9. We're going to take another break, but you can always get legal advice right now by calling Justin's office at 321-282-1055. Associates are standing by. We'll be right back.
Behind the Law is pre-recorded for TV, but you can ask your questions live on the radio Sundays at noon on News 96.5. And if you need legal advice right now, Justin's associates are standing by. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clarke a call at 321-282-1055.
Ask your question live. Tune into FM 96.5 WDBO Sundays at noon and ask Justin your question.
I mean, just from my perspective, I certainly believe that the state had a more powerful case against Casey Anthony than the state has against George Zimmerman. And we see how that one turned out.
Stay tuned. Justin Clarke will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Hey, we got some callers on the line. Dennis is calling in. He's got a question for you. Dennis, go ahead with your call.
How you doing, fellas? One thing, it wouldn't surprise me if it was continued either. A friend of mine had a case, stand your ground case, and from incident to the final gavel, it was 2 years, 7 months, and 5 days. So this one here is really speedy. But I want to get your comment, Justin, on the concept of justice. In my opinion, Zimmerman getting his day in court and the burden of proof being on the state, that's justice. And I'm ready to accept the verdict, whether it's an acquittal or a conviction. And I'd like to trust that the Martin family is also willing to accept the verdict as fair and just, whether it's in their favor or not. But I don't think that's the case. Yeah. I think they proclaim that they want justice, but in actuality it's vengeance and Zimmerman behind bars.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've heard from the Martin family somewhat, not a whole lot, and I think they've handled themselves pretty well in light of losing a child from what I've seen. But let's make no mistake, this is a close case, and in a criminal trial, the state has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And this is not a civil case, so just by all the reports that you've read and everything that you've seen, the one thing I know about this case is it's close. I'm not quite sure what happened that day, and if the state can't prove that what happened was absolutely a murder, then we can't convict George Zimmerman. But it's close. It's going to be close, I think, but it's very difficult for states to prove their case because of the overwhelming burden they have to overcome.
I mean, look at what happened with Casey Anthony.
I mean,
and there was a lot of misinformation about the Casey Anthony case, too. There was a lot of bar talk and restaurant talk. And it turned out during the case, none of that came out. So evidently, most of it was not factual.
I mean, just from my perspective, I certainly believe that the state had a more powerful case against Casey Anthony than the state has against George Zimmerman. And we see how that one turned out. But, I don't know. And also, it makes me a little nervous because everyone saw that, okay, maybe they thought Casey Anthony got off. I know that a lot of people believe that she was guilty, and now I wonder if the public's going to say, well, we didn't convict her, we got to convict this guy. Almost like O.J. Simpson. You know, O.J. Simpson got off on the alleged murder of his wife and Ron Goldman, but then he goes in to steal some memorabilia, and they throw him in jail for 30-something years. And I wonder if this is a similar scenario where we say, okay, so, you know, Central Florida, we couldn't convict her, we better convict him. I hope that's not the case.
It certainly happens. It certainly seems like whenever anything is very controversial and it's right on the edge,
yeah,
it seems to happen in Florida. Have you noticed that?
I don't know what it is.
We're always on the bubble here. I don't know. But not when weather's striking, so that's a good thing.
You can find more Behind the Law on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gregory and Clarke, where there's plenty of past episodes with valuable information on how to save your home from the mortgage companies. Check it out.
Ask your question live. Tune into FM 96.5 WDBO Sundays at noon and ask Justin your question.
Wanted to know if I might be eligible for a HAMP, even though I received a HARP.
Okay.
November of 2009.
Stay tuned. Justin Clarke will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back. We're Behind the Law with Justin Clarke of Gregory and Clarke, attorneys at law. You have a question for Justin? Give us a buzz right now, 407-297-9696 or 855-297-9696. Off the air, you want to talk to the folks at the law office, 321-282-1055. Let's go to Jennifer. She's got a call about hemp.
Janelle, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Janelle. Rob's having trouble with his eyes today.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It was hidden behind the microphone.
I got you. Go ahead, Janelle, with your question.
I've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous.
No, don't be nervous, please.
Wanted to know if I might be eligible for a HAMP, even though I received my brain just went dead on me. A HARP,
Okay.
November of 2009.
So you did the HARP in 2009?
Yes.
Or you did the HAMP? Are you sure it was the HARP that
No,
you did?
I did the HARP.
Okay. You might be. The HAMP program is for loans that were originated in 2009. I can't remember the exact day. What's your current payment right now?
It's around $650.
And what kind of income do you have coming in?
I'm retired for 2 years after an auto accident. I'm 70 years old. And that 30%, is that based on net or gross income?
It's based on your gross monthly income. 31% of your gross monthly income should be your mortgage payment, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
Okay, so my gross. My annual gross my annual net is around 22. I can't read this. 22,949.31.
So you're about $22,000 a year gross. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you divide that by 12, I need a calculator here at the studio.
Yeah.
So you have about $1,833 a month coming in, times 0.31. Your payment should be close to $568. So you're close there. What's the interest rate right now?
I think it's 4%, but there's something about closing an escrow that brought it up to 4.5. Does that make any sense? I don't really know what I'm talking about.
They might be talking about the actual APR as opposed to the actual interest rate. The APR is really what it cost you, I guess, so to speak. I think maybe you want to come in and see me. You live over in Palm Bay. I'm not too far away. Give us a call at 321-282-1055, and let's see if the HAMP's something that you should do. It might be, might not be. I'm not quite convinced either way yet. I'd like to sit down and talk to you. I would never charge you for a consultation, of course, like everyone. And I'll sit down and we'll go through everything. How is that?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Janelle. And again, it seems like she had already done the HARP program, but I don't know many people who did a HARP in 2009, so I don't know if we're totally confused on that or not. But maybe the HAMP is the right way to go for her. In fact, Fannie and Freddie now have just come out with what they're calling their streamlined modification process, which They're allegedly not making people send in any financials. They're just going to send you a letter stating, here you go, this is your modification, make 3 trial payments, and you're locked in and set. I haven't seen anyone get it yet. They're threatening to do it. I don't know. I think if you do get a letter like that, please come in and see somebody like me, because I've seen this be screwed up so many times. And let's just make sure we go through it and make sure that it's the right way to go. But apparently starting in July, Fannie and Freddie are going to send out letters randomly lowering people's interest rates. They're not going to do principal reduction still. So if you owe $300,000, your house is worth $100,000, you're still going to owe $300,000. But they are allegedly going to do a principal forbearance, meaning if you owe $300,000, you're only paying the interest on $200,000, and at the end of 30 years, you still owe $100,000. That's basically what a principal forbearance is, which is, it's okay. You can always pay a little bit more than your monthly payment's supposed to be, and treat it like you're paying it all together. But there's just so many programs out there. It drives people nuts. Just go in and see somebody like me, and let's figure out what the best way to go, because I even get my head even spins sometimes. I imagine yours must, Rob.
Well, I'm not doing it every day, so I come in on weekends and hear about this sort of thing. But I think it's very important that people listen to this program, watch it on TV, listen to the other Ask the Expert programs, and not, one, bury their head in the sand and say this is all going to pass, or number two, feel like they've been defeated when they've got good lawyer representation on their side.
If you're having any legal problems that could cost you your home, remember that the offices of Gregory and Clarke are your one-stop shop for saving your home. Short sales, foreclosure, bankruptcy, refinancing, it's all under one roof. Just give them a call right now at 321-282-1055, and you can schedule your free consultation. We'll be right back.
Ask your question live. Tune into FM 96.5 WDBO Sundays at noon and ask Justin your question.
Most of the time, they would rather come take your house and sell it on the open market and get it off the books than keep you in the house. So they're winning if you get tired of dealing with them and just give up. That's how the bank wins.
Stay tuned. Justin Clarke will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
I'm just seeing too many people let bank fatigue cost them a lot of money. People, we're just sick of dealing with this bank. I don't ever want to talk to this bank again because I'm sick of dealing with them. I'm tired, Justin. I'm just tired. I'm just going to let them take the house. Let's not do that. That's the best way to let the bank win, is let them just come take your house. That's what they want to do. But people are like, well, they don't want to foreclose on my house. They have so many foreclosures. No, they really do. Most of the time, they would rather come take your house and sell it on the open market and get it off the books than keep you in the house. So they're winning if you get tired of dealing with them and just give up. That's how the bank wins. And we don't want the banks to win here. The banks have already won over and over and over and over again. And you're going to get tired of dealing with them and let them win by come and take your house. Ruin your credit. They can come sue you for the difference. Let's not do that. Let's not just give up. There are so many programs out there. Let someone guide you through the best process to help save you money every month in your payment.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's one that I heard of the other day that we haven't discussed in months, the Making Homes Affordable Act.
Yeah, right.
I forgot what that was.
It's related to the HAMP program, the Home Affordable Modification Program, that was just extended through 2015. So that's great news for homeowners who are still struggling to make their payments. They want to do about 2 million more of them. So they've already only done 1 million at this point. So they want to do double what they've already done over the last 7 years and the next 2.5 years. And let me tell you, I'm looking at the clock right now. It's June 2nd already. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can't believe that either.
Where is this year going? My God, it feels like just yesterday we were talking about the Mortgage Debt Relief Act extension at the end of 2012.
I got to bring up some old business.
Go.
Is anybody still getting their rust checks or their second rust check or the one that was delayed in the mail by going to the wrong address?
There has not been a new group of checks sent out in a while. Apparently, there's the last round that's going to be sent out in about 3 or 4 weeks from now. This is the independent foreclosure review checks that are being sent out under rust settlement. You're going to get anywhere from $300 to the most I've really seen is about $3,000, but it does go all the way up to $125,000. But those are extreme situations. Most of my clients are getting $300, $500,000, $2,000, and you didn't have to do anything to get it. All you had to do was be in foreclosure back a couple years ago. They sent you letters to fill out and send back, but even if you didn't, you should still get a check.
Mm-hmm. Are you getting any calls from people who know that you're an authority in this, and they call and say, I got a check from Rust. What is this check?
Every day I get calls like that saying, okay, I got this weird check in the mail. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but what should I do? My advice, cash the check ASAP. Mm-hmm. Maybe even go cash it. Don't even put it in the bank because I don't trust this money sometimes, but cash the check. You're not waiving any rights whatsoever to any claim you might have against any bank, and it says that right on the check that you're not waiving any rights. If you get a check in the mail that says Rust Consulting Independent Foreclosure Review, that's your money. Enjoy it. But as I said, maybe this isn't the one we put in the bank. This is one we go celebrate with a little bit.
All right, if people are interested in HAMP or HARP or any of the programs we discuss on the show, radio or television, what materials do you want them to bring to the office on their free consultation?
I need you to bring your brain, first of all. I want to know kind of how much money you're making. So just bring your brain. That's the most important thing. And bring a mortgage bill. If you've received, your bill from Bank of America or Chase or whoever your lender might be, it helps me to see what your current interest rate is, how much your payment is, how much the escrow payment is. That's all I need. Bring yourself and bring your mortgage statement, and we can get a lot of work done in about half an hour.
If they have any threatening letters or letters of interest, they should bring all that as well?
You can bring them, but I know a lot of people who've been doing this for a year on their own have a huge box of materials, so to speak. I don't necessarily need all that to begin with. We might need that later. I really like to sit down and talk about the situation, see how we can help you.
That'll wrap up our discussion, but there's still so much to talk about that could save your home. So if you have questions, give the offices of Gregory and Clarke a call right now at 321-282-1055. There's never a charge for a consultation, and it could save your home. We'll see you again next week right here on TV 27.
Thank you for watching Behind the Law with Justin Clarke. Be sure to join us again next week as Justin takes you behind the law and answers your legal questions.